Hello everyone, I'm starting another video here. It's in the city of Hoi An in Vietnam. And I want to talk to you today about the different archetypes. But before that, let's bullshit a little bit. First of all, I want to know in the comments if you want me to wear the hat or not wear the hat in my videos. Stupid hat. And also I'm just filling out some water, and this thing that is on my mind here, that I discovered that in the East there is a huge problem that no one put this water machines to fill up their water. And then what you need to do is you need to get all these little bottles all the time. You need to buy, or they even give you for free in the hotel, all these little bottles of water. It's one sip and it's over. And I'm angry about that because later all this plastic is going to the river here and to the ocean. And what I want is to have in every hotel, in every restaurant, a mandatory, in the East, a mandatory machine to fill up water, clean, pure water. And that's my vision for Asia. So I wanted to share this with you before we start. And now I'm going to put these bottles back because I went to just refill them in a hostel next to us that had this machine. And now we're going to start the video about the archetypes. And I have a feeling that it's going to be the best video ever. The best, I mean, very, very non-materially valuable video. And the reason it's non-materially valuable, people, by the way, you probably want to see the street, so I'll film the street. Hey, it's my friend. It's a very beautiful city. We're gonna walk around in it a bit. I have some stuff to talk about. It's probably gonna take about 20 minutes. The reason that archetypes, and I'm talking about not the archetypes that come from Jung, Freud. Actually, it's more from Jung. How do you call this guy? I'm not speaking from the same context that he's speaking, because he's speaking about psychology, and I'm actually speaking from the context that started what I heard about it first in possibility management, but then I have some ideas in the video to develop this context about that, and maybe to connect. So talking about the different archetypes is very valuable, because you can highlight one of these archetypes as something that is close to you, and through that figure a lot of things out. And I want to start mentioning the archetypes are in the archetypal body, and I talked about the archetypal body in another video, but it's the archetypal body. It's about what is beyond. Like, it's not my physical body, it's not in my mental, it's not like a theory, it's not an idea, it's not an emotion, it's not in the emotional body, it's not energetic, like it's not like a yogi kind of energetic chakra thing, but it's in the archetypal body. And archetypal body is what actually brought me here to Hoi An, because someone gave me this quest invitation to come here, and I was like, I'm gonna come here. It doesn't make sense, I don't know why, but I need to come to this beautiful place. And the calling, I felt this calling in my archetypal body. It wasn't intellectual, it wasn't like, and you only feel the archetypal body when all the other four bodies are aligned. So of course that when I thought about the idea, it also came across through my mind, but it's mainly I felt it as this calling. And if you recognize one of these archetypes that I'm going to mention in this video as yourself, about yourself, then it means that you have more possibilities because you see certain something in you. Now, this is not like a human design thing where they tell you this is who you are because you were born in that and that hour, in that date, and then like that defines you. It's not. Like at certain times in your life, you probably can see all the archetypes inside of you. But I'm just gonna really encompass a wider, broader context about the different archetypal characters, different archetypal roles that you can take, archetypal lineages, and maybe talk a bit more about the archetypal body. And in the meantime, I'm going to also show you the city. Look, we got into the other street. See the way you cross the street here is you just cross, there's no rules. Everyone is just basically driving wherever they want. So archetypal roles are when there is a certain one of the feelings is in the forefront of yourself. And I talk about it in other videos in workshop. One of the feelings, let's say anger, that's the feeling that is in your forefront. That's the feeling that is in your go-to. You're used to using that. So maybe you have the archetype of the warrior. And that's an archetypal role that you can take. So if fear is in your forefront, then you have the archetype of the wizard, of the sorcerer or sorceress. And that's all coming from possibility management, this context. Not the feeling in the forefront so much, but the archetypal roles. And I call them roles. They actually don't call them roles so much. People are cutting clothes here. They're very good at making clothes. And so there's the warrior, and it actually comes from this book, Warrior, King, Magician, Lover, which gives you 4 archetypal roles. And dividing things into 4, it's a very common modality. And I want to do a video about this modality in my next video. And it's actually coming from NLP to divide things as 4. And you can actually divide anything into 4. So there is the warrior at number 1. Number 2, there's the connector, connector lover. I call it the pirate or the rogue, the thief, At number 3 is probably the magician, the sorcerer, and number 4 is the king, king, queen. So those are the 4 basic archetypal roles. And in this video, what I want to do is I want to get with you into breaking down these different roles and give you more kind of different roles that are not, I haven't heard anyone talk to them before, except in the Dungeons and Dragons context. Interesting, if you don't know, Dungeons and Dragons is this role-playing game. Wait, let's cross. Dungeons and Dragons is this role-playing games played by kids and adults, and in there was all these archetypes. Like you take the character of a warrior, and that's your role for the rest of the game. It's kind of intense here. So you can take the magician. There is more different characters. For example, there is the priest. And the priest is something between a magician and maybe like a spiritual warrior. So you have another role there. The priest is about like connecting with either the forces of nature, with the divine, you know. They always like follow this god or something like that. And they, wow, look. And the priest is another one of these roles that you can connect to. I can tell you that some people that I work with, and actually there's workshops like that already connected to the priestess. Like the priestess today in the New Age world is already an archetype that a lot of people are connected to. And you know, maybe Jung also speaks about it, but there you go. We just spoke about the priests, the priestess. There she is. Walking in all these alleys here. And let's talk about a little bit about the other roles. There is inside the priestess, there is also sub roles. And I'm glad that I'm talking about it because I wanted to talk about it for a while. The sub roles are, for example, there is different kind of priests. For example, a druid is more a priest, and the word druid comes from like Celtic traditions in the British Island in the, I don't know, like probably 1st, 2nd century. It started there, or maybe like maybe 1000 even AC, but I'm not sure. But there was this priestess called druids, and they were in charge of all the ceremonies of like the harvest, you know, the moon, the cycles, and they were basically the religion in the British Islands before the Celtics arrived. So there's the druid, and when you play Dungeons and Dragons, the druid is really this person that have magic powers about connecting to nature. He can talk to animals, he can recognize different kinds of plants and stuff like that. Now, magical powers, what does it even mean in our world? It means that you can connect to forces that are beyond the average understanding of things. You can also look at it as technology, right? Like one man technology is another man magic. Like if you show electricity to people 1,000 years ago, oh sorry, you would came to someone's house. If you show electricity to someone 1,000 years ago, it would be like magic for them. If I show them this phone, for example, that I'm filming with. So there is technology to do things that are a bit beyond our understanding. For example, like how, like if you just want to feel this puddle. Like how can someone sit in a meditation for like a few days in a row? I don't know. Like I don't know how they do it. For me, it's like magic, you know. But just because I don't have the technology to do it, so, but people can do it. Okay, that's magic for now. And then there's the warrior, and there's different kinds of warriors, right? Even if you look at martial arts, you can see they already recognize the different kinds of warrior. There's a good video about it. I'm gonna link it below about the different types of warrior. But there is like a warrior that are like berserkers. They go crazy and they fight. Or there's warrior that are like you know, struggling with the English here. There's paladins. Paladins is a warrior that is closer to the priest. It's like a, you know, it's like a warrior of God. It's like the righteous warrior. Like never, it's like the perfect white knight. He never do anything wrong. In the movie Dungeons and Dragons, actually, Honor Among Thieves, they have a great paladin there. Like it really shows the symbol. Go watch this movie. It's one of the best movies to show archetypes, especially thieves. You can see there is different kind of thieves. There's the rogue. He's like a leader. He's kind of like a pirate. You know, he's like a leader. He's like uniting the group together. He's bringing people together. It's like a conscious leader, not a. And that's actually also connected to a king. So maybe it's between a rogue to a king, this character there in the movie. And so there's different kind of rogues, different kind of thieves. Like there's the pirate, there's the, just like the pickpocketer, there's like the petty thief, and there is also a rogue, the magician, the king, different types of kings. We talked about it, queens, you can see it also in Game of Thrones, the different archetypes of queens there. And it goes through all mythological legends. Basically, queen is like in this Cinderella, and there's all these legends with queens in them, So these legends and these characters, there is a reason why they're in the culture, because they really symbolize like, not only like psychological mental characters that we have inside of us, but also like these forces of the universe. Like what makes a man fight a dragon? What is this thing about a man that is willing to sacrifice life and go fight in this war that is like bigger than him, that is risking his life for it? So in legend you see that force that drives this man to become like this warrior of light. So there's different archetypal role, and if you know how to highlight and find your archetypal role that is unique to you, you get a lot of information about, what's worked for you. For example, when I discovered that I'm kind of like more connected to the rogue, the pirate one, I could like starting to connect to this quality of connecting people together, which is part of the connector, role, which is a pirate. So I, even here in Oyan, one day I grabbed some people together, connected as a team. We went on the boat, we put the lanterns in the water. It's part of my work, of what I'm here for to do. Crossing here is scary. Okay, so there's all these different archetypal roles. I think we discover we kind of went through all of them, but we didn't really went to all the sub-categories of them. Like, also, by the way, there's like a ranger, that is between a warrior and a druid. Like, is a guy that walks in nature and very connected to nature. And I have friends like that, like barefoot friends that I have. They're kind of like these rangers, and that's their archetype. And I need to use a lot of anger to make this video and not get distracted more than I am right now. So let's stop and sit here for a second. Now we covered some of the archetypal roles, and there's also, I want to just like organize some of the archetypal categories. There's archetypal roles, or I call them archetypal characters. There's archetypal lineages, which are really important, because like every conversation I'm having about that, every conversation that I'm having about the archetypal lineages gives so much clarity about people, like what are you came here to do. So one of the archetypal lineages is being a village weaver, and it's very connected also to being a connector, to being this pirate. And one of the archetypal lineages, there's 4 archetypal lineages: the village weaver, the game world builder that is in charge about like building game worlds, building worlds, and there's the earth guardian, which is more like a warrior, just like is in charge of keeping the context of the game world. Like he would be the first one that tell you like, oh, you need to take off your shoes in the entries to this yoga place. Like, hey, take off your shoes. Like, that's the earth guardian. He's keeping the context of the game world. And it's really interesting. There's more stuff to discover about that archetype. And then there's the village weaver, the game world builder, the earth guardian, and the evolutionary. And the evolutionary is about taking people into processes. Is the people that always like to go deep on things. Like you sit with them and they want this deep conversation. They want to discover within themselves, why do they feel like that? They're going to these worlds of deepness. And those are the evolutionaries. And they are there to take people into processes, or to remind the context of taking processes in the game world. So those are the 4 lineages. And then there's the archetypal forces. The archetypal forces is like, in the entry to every place, you can almost feel the energy. Like, look at this house. You can almost see like this house is almost like the spirit. And I think in the Asian culture, in the Japanese culture especially, they talk a lot about this, how these spirits have place in the world. But where are they in the world? They're not in the physical world, they're in the archetypal world. And you can connect to these powers, to these forces, like the spirit of the house, or in every forest, for example. Like if you sit and meditate in a forest, you might discover this like spirits of the forest or something, like this, forces. It's not like really spirits like we see in the movies, but it's like just like these forces that you can connect to through your archetypal body. It's hard to explain, but it's in these legends and myths because people got it, people connected to them. And there's and you can connect to archetypal, to your bright principles. For example, like, what are you here for? To serve in the world. What type of archetypal energy you're here to serve in the world? For example, maybe you're here to serve, like for example, for me, it's like empowerment, encouragement, determination, clarity, possibilities, adventure. Those kind of archetypal principles that go through me. And maybe when you're talking to me, you can already feel them. And in the spaces that I'm in, I'm sourcing those forces into the space. And that's kind of like my gift, And you also hear about all these archetypal forces from like really famous myths and legend characters. Like, for example, in the Bible, there's all these prophets that that they have these powers, and sometimes like if like some people, like people that are considered to be holy, they die, and then people go to their tomb or something, they feel it, they feel it in their archetypal body. And it's also, you can connect to like your life mission. And if this is really clear to you, like I have these crazy life missions, like this guy David Attenborough, with this like adventurism in like bringing clarity to the environment and to the world of nature. It's almost like he had this archetypal mission. You see a movie about his life and it's like, whoa. So you can have this archetypal mission, and that can supply you with these archetypal forces that are just beyond, they're just beyond what people can understand. I see this in movies a lot. In movies, they really show this like hero that his mission is not even clear to anyone else, but he just like, it doesn't know why, but he needs to do it. It's archetypal mission. Even now, I saw this show, Yosemite, and there's the guy there. There's just like, he wouldn't sell his farm. He's like, I don't care about like logic. I don't care about thing. I made a promise. He's like, he made a promise to his dad that he's never gonna sell the land. And keeping this promise is like this archetypal purpose that he found to his life. And it creates all this magic, like it changes life. It really changes the world. And if you want to change the world, I mean, there it is, the little you, spinning around this earth, this like ball, like a monkey. And like if you want to change the world, like what can you really do? I mean, you can be part of something really big, but then, like, I don't know how much effect do you really have. But if you're armed with these forces, these archetypal forces, you don't even have to fully understand them. It's not a belief, like you don't even have to believe them, because really they shift and they change, and maybe it's like electricity, it's something that you can plug into every once in a while. But you can change things. You can have much more influence. Yeah, and I feel it. Like I'm a bit scared to talk about it, but I feel it when I'm sometimes connected to this archetypal purpose in me, and people just, there's a different conversation, there's different possibilities suddenly available for me, especially when I'm walking here in this trip and I'm like, okay, I can connect right now to be just like a normal tourist, but I can speak from my archetypal body. I can speak from my purpose. I can speak as Gaia. Like I was just talking to the lady in the reception, and I tell her, the river here is angry that you give people these plastic bottles, and then you throw them in the river and in the sea. So the water are angry, and I spoke to her as the river, or as Gaia. And, you can speak from all these different collective consciousness that's coming through you. And that's also in the archetypal body. And also this talisman, for example, there's all these objects that are somehow, you can feel them and you can connect and see that they're a bit beyond. There's something about them that channel through something that is beyond. And there's like artifacts like this that are like that, but there's also, if you go to the Western Wall, you can really feel the pulsing. Like you close your eyes, if you can connect to this, if you can connect to your archetypal body. And there's all this invitation, also archetypal invitations, that someone can tell you, like someone just told me to come to a Yan, and hey, or I met a guy here, and I saw him from the back, and he had his hat, backwards, and he had a helmet on the hat, and I wore the helmet also like that because I'm grossed from the person that wore the helmet before me. Maybe he had lices or something. So I'm seeing this guy wearing the helmet and the hat exactly like me, like backwards hat with a helmet. I saw him from the back. I saw him walking on his bike next to the hostel, just like hopping on his bike, and I'm like, hey, listen, I'm going to this little village outside the city. I don't know what it is, but I want to go there. And then I'm going to this old temple that is somewhere there. It's an hour drive. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Do you want to come? And he was like, yeah, actually, I plan to go around to the beaches here, but yeah, I'll come. Let's do it. He was like, he was like considering it with himself for a bit. He was like, yes. He said yes to adventure using his conscious anger, which I talk about a lot, and just joined an adventure. And we had like a whole day of adventure. We got to be friends. It was so fun. We explored this place. We had an hour drive with a motorcycle, which was kind of crazy here in Vietnam. Kind of scary to drive here. But it was this archetypal invitation that I gave him as a pirate. Like, hey, want to join the adventure? So I think that's all I had to say about the archetypal body, but if you have more questions, comment them down below and let's stay connected. If you want to know more, there's a study group of Connect that we're doing every 2 weeks, and it's free, and you can just join and learn about all this stuff, archetypal bodies, different bodies, 4 feelings, what? Being a nomad, traveling around the world, doing your own workshops. We have a space holder training coming up in 2 weeks, and you can definitely join that even if you've never been a space holder, and you can discover more of your archetypal purpose there. And thank you for watching. See you next time.
Không, ê cái điện thoại đẹp lắm. Không làm không sợ sao không?
Hello, An.
Hello. Em điện thoại nó xinh quá. Không, đây em điện thoại anh đẹp dễ sợ lắm. Hello.
Yeah. before I came here, I met two friends, and they told me to come to this place. But I told them, listen, I have this video, I have to film it, and maybe I'll meet you there. And I was just walking in the street. I had no idea where they're going. I put it on my Google Maps, but I didn't check since I left the hotel. And then I see them here. Funny to end this video and come exactly to this place. See you next time. Oh, it wasn't a picture. It was a video. Let's drive together a little bit in Oyan. Beautiful day out here. The roads are pretty clear. And we arrived at the hotel. It's a really good hotel called Aman Boutique Hotel. Highly recommend. What is missing in every hotel in Vietnam is this machine, except this hostel that has that. Come on, just a simple water device.